Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Wednesday, April 30th, 2014. In this video, we're going to take a look at the XHB, which is the Spiders S&P Homebuilders ETF, as well as some of the components of that ETF that look like prime shorting candidates right now. I've gone through all the components of the XHB and flagged some of my favorites. For those of you who follow the site, you'll notice that XHB was added as a short setup today. Let's take a look at that chart to begin with here. What we have with these orange parallel lines, we have this channel. Prices recently broke. Let's just jump back to a longer term chart here. They broke down from this trend line, sort of a rising wedge pattern, all the way back, mid-year last year, and have since they did correct somewhat, but have since moved up a little bit in this ascending channel here, and prices now are on that channel. Also, take a look, if you will. Let me turn this a little bit brighter here. Take a look at the red line, which is the 100 period EMA. This is a 2-day chart. A 2-day period chart, meaning each candlestick represents 2 days price action. So the 100 EMA is the same as the 200-day EMA when we go back to the daily chart. And if you'll notice, really going all the way back to mid-2012, and really before that, here's the 200 EMA, prices traded below. This has done a great job of defining uptrends, and as you can see here, we had a reaction there. Prices have been skirting along again, 200-day moving average, and as well as this channel here. So this is a key level, and we're looking at this ascending channel, 200-day moving average support just below. We're going to go back to a daily chart, and again, let's go ahead and just brighten this up a little bit. I often tune down some of the colors on the charts to just make these a little bit more presentable. So here's a 200-day. It's not populated because we don't have many periods. That's one limitation to the TC2000 and free stock charts programs. The trend line, the moving averages don't populate all the way on the chart. They need a certain amount of data periods before they start to calculate it. So either way, as you can see here, prices have now made a solid breach. They tagged. We had a brief hammered below, caught support on the 200-day moving average, which I'm sure all the long side traders were giddy about. Prices moved up a little, but have since broken down and are now trading and have made several, 1, 2, 3. We're now trading the 4th day below the 200-day moving average. So that is key. That's why one reason I put this set up. I've been watching this for a while. For those of you, which I imagine is just about anybody here reading the headlines, in the last few weeks, all we hear is how the housing market is rolling over, some disappointing numbers there. So I've been waiting for a long time for a nice short entry here on the XHB, and I think the time has come. On the site, the official entry that I have, being that sometimes we will see these intraday breaks below a support level, as we had here just yesterday. If we zoom in, look at this candlestick. Actually, that was Monday. To be safe, let's wait until this breaks below Monday's lows. That's why I made an official entry on a break below 30.60. That is the low on Monday. So if and when prices break below 30.60, I think we'll be far enough away from both the 200-day and the bottom of this channel to safely initiate a short entry on the XHB without fear that it's going to close back up above. And if it does, my suggested stops are mentioned on that trade. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at the components. I'll show you one thing that I really do like about TC2000, and that is the ability to just quickly, with one click, take a look at all the components of an ETF. So what we're looking at here, these are all the holdings of the XHB. And what I'll do, I've flagged those, my favorite short setups in the sector. So I'll sort by flag here. And what we'll do is we'll click through these one at a time. These aren't set up in any particular order. And I will later on put my favorites out on the site as trade setups. But being that that sector is so close to breaking down right now, it could happen at any time. It may not happen for weeks, but if it does, I wanted to go over these and give everybody some ideas, because I might not be able to post, or actually I won't be able to post all the ideas. So I'll go ahead and just share some of those now. First one here, this is AOS, A.O. Smith Corporation. They make electric motors. I've got those on the boat lift out in the back. The pool pump is an A.O. Smith pump. So big company, been around for a long time. And as you can see, has had a very strong run. We're looking at a 2-year daily chart here, all the way back to early or mid 2012. Nice uptrend. We can see that. We'll take a look at the weekly chart here real quick. You can see a really strong, well-defined uptrend. We had 2 big uptrends really since the bull market in this stock has started. We had this uptrend, which is recently broken, and again, we'll look back at the daily chart here in a second. And here is the uptrend off the March 2009, the beginning of the bull market there. We had that uptrend. Nice correction in the middle and an extension. And, you know, this has pretty nice symmetry. You would expect this is a continuation move, this correction here. So in my opinion, there's a good chance that the bull market, the primary bull market in AOS has ended, and I would not be surprised, if the stock proves to be a nice swing short over the upcoming months here. So go back to the daily chart real quick. Not as clear, this trend line. We have a few breaches. It's been tricky, this one. This is the way I have it drawn now, primarily because I can count the most reaction points here on that trend line. We could put an alternate trend line here, that tag there, breakdown and a back test, and AOS is currently struggling with the 200-day moving average now. For this one, again, I will have to comb through these charts in a little more detail, and I'll put up my favorites, but I wouldn't want to initiate a short position until that one went below, say 44.50, somewhere around there. It looks like we have some good horizontal support, maybe all the way down to 44.30 for those of you who want to be safe, but either way, potential swing short candidate there. Next one in the list is Low, LOW, which is Lowe's company, big competitor to Home Depot. Forgive me, I haven't had time to clean up all of these charts. There are a few extra trend lines we don't really need to focus on here, but most important one here, this trend line that's highlighted. We have this nice uptrend, many reaction points here. 1, 2, 3, goodness, over a half dozen. And again, another key moving average here is a 200-day moving average on a lot of these stocks. And you can see prices broke down below the trend line, consolidated just below, which also looks like a bear flag. If you look at this here, the price action here right off the 200-day moving average from this impulsive drop down, continuation, and we've now broken to the downside. So the measured move would be, about this distance. Easy way to compute a quick measured move of a bear flag is to take the flagpole and then just add that to the top of the flag itself. So that would bring lows down to somewhere around the 40, call it the 43.30 area roughly. And if you look at that horizontal line, there's also some nice support, some reactions over here. So that would be my initial near-term target on lows. And because we have broken down or appear to be breaking down from that flag now, I think lows is an objective entry here with a stop. Depends, of course, on your ultimate target. I think there's a lot more downside left. If we look at this, again, I'm jumping over to a weekly chart here. This has had quite a run, like a lot of the home building stocks, which were fueled by all the stimulus, the Fed stimulus, the recovery in the housing market, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they look like they've gotten a little bit ahead of themselves, and I think a nice correction is coming in that sector. Let's go ahead and move on. Next one here, LL, Lumber Liquidators. This one, we've had some mixed results on the site. We've had some great trades on this, and we've been stopped out a few times as well. This one has just gone and gone and gone. But personally, I have a short position in this one now and have for a while. LL, this is a weekly chart we're looking at here. Nice, well-defined uptrend line starting back in really in late 2011. And we have an impulsive breakdown. Let's zoom in a little bit. Nice impulsive breakdown of that trend line, and this one I plan to tuck away for a while. If we look over here at the volume of price histogram, these green and red bars, I do have them tuned down a bit. I don't know how well you'll be able to see these watching this video, but there is a nice thin zone that comes all the way down to the 34.25 level, which is my second and final swing target on this. and I do think we'll catch some support here. There'll be some reactions along the way. I often micromanage my trades. There'll be some support, probably a bounce here around the 71.15-ish area. Once that clears, then I think the next main target would be the 48.90, and then ultimately that 34.25. And again, like any trade, especially looking out, this far, we're talking a stock that was $120 and targets that are down in the mid 30s. I know those are aggressive targets, and we may or may not get there. We're still in a secular or a cyclical bull market overall. So we'll just have to watch this one as it goes, pay attention to the charts, both on LL, on the home building sector, and of course the broad market. But let's say 3-4 months from now, we have confirmation that we may be in a new bear market, and the XHB is in a clear bear market itself, then in that case I will most likely extend my targets to the downside. If not, if the evidence is to the contrary, that we're only getting a correction within a ongoing bull market, I doubt LL will go much lower than the 48.90 area. So that's lumber liquidators. And shorter term, I do think this stock is offering an entry today. I know it's down quite a bit. We're down 6.4% right now. This is a line that I've had here on the chart that shows a horizontal support level. We have a few reactions, 1, 2, 3, and then we finally broke down. Now there are multiple layers of support. Again, I haven't put a lot of focus on cleaning these charts up. I'll try to get some of these trade ideas out there, the ones that look the most objective and have the a lot of promise on the downside. But I did want to point out LL while we go through this. DHI, this is a home builder, DR Horton, and let's take a look. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Like all home builders, it's had a heck of a run in the last few years. There's been a few uptrends. This was a big uptrend off the 2011 lows. Prices broke down. We hit this support line, going all the way back to 2008, and we might even have some reactions to the left of the chart. This is a 10-year weekly chart. Either way, we had that initial leg down, another leg up, and we zoom in here back to the daily chart or a 2-day period. This is a rising wedge pattern. DHI, if I'm not mistaken, DHI did have as a short here earlier. We got stopped out. Admittedly, I had my stops a little too aggressive on this one, and we were stopped out. This just up here, the stock went on to make an overshoot of the wedge to the upside, then broke down, beautiful back test, and went on to hit the target. This is the target. You can check under the post by symbol. Just go down and check DHI, and you'll see the most recent string of posts had this 1780 target. And like a lot of trades, sometimes we are stopped out early. Went on to hit that support line, perfect, come within a few pennies below it, and found support there for months. Moved back up and formed this smaller uptrend, which we've broken down. We've made 2 back tests. One back test at that level here, and one recent back test here. Not my favorite right now. I did want to point it out because I do think this one will come down and hit this line and that 1780-ish level again and possibly go lower. But that wouldn't be the most objective short entry right now. Just wanted to point that out because that is in my watch list here. Next one is Home Depot, symbol HD. Let's take a quick look at the weekly chart. I haven't really cleaned that up much lately. What you're looking at here is an ascending channel. We can also see that on the daily chart, I believe. Yeah, more the 2-day period. Yeah, sorry folks, haven't cleaned this one up yet. However, what I am focusing on right now is this channel here. It's very slightly ascending channel, almost a sideways consolidation zone. I do have just below this orange channel, I have a horizontal support level here. Call it, let's see the value of that, 72.50. So there's a little bit of support just below that, around 72.50. Other than that, if we take a look at the volume at price, let's brighten that up a little so we can see that. We have, this is that, these volume at price bars represent all that trading that's gone on here. Below that, there is a thin zone. Once we break below that 72.50 area or the bottom of this channel, we don't really start seeing a lot of support all the way down here to around 65.50, somewhere around there. So Home Depot does look very toppy to me. until it breaks below this channel, or to be for a little bit more confirmation, you might want to wait to the 7250 level goes. But Home Depot, again, to me looks toppy. Not one of my favorite shorts at this time, but just something to point out. LEN, Lennar, another home builder, and let's see what we have here on the weekly chart. Okay, here's a weekly chart that's a little bit cleaned up. We have this rising wedge pattern. Again, like most of the home builders, late 2011, we had a nice low here. In fact, this one was a very nice base. Look at, we had, 1, 2, 3 tags of that support level. And from there, we launched a nice strong rally defined by this uptrend line. Prices broke down. I've showed this chart in the past on the site. We have this multi-year resistance level. We go back here, leading up in the last bull market. Before that ended, we had several reactions off that support level. And once prices broke down, we entered the new bear market, the 07, 08, 09 bear market. And again, now that resistance has come into play here. We did overshoot it a little bit on the upside, but if you zoom in, and I'll have to move this horizontal line or add another one here. Let's do that. There. So if we focus on the uppermost horizontal line, we have a double top pattern so far, with prices having failed there. And the base of that pattern, now this would be, of course, for a longer term swing short, this would be the base of the double top pattern. So if and when prices break below this level, these lows put back here in mid 2013, that would open the door and project all the way down to somewhere around this support line, around the $22 area. So that would be a long-term swing target on LEN. Once again, if and when the prices break below this trading range or the bottom of the double top pattern. And of course, to hone our entries, we'd want to focus in on the daily chart as well, even the 60-minute charts, and make sure everything confirms there. On the daily chart, I do have this more recent uptrend line right here to keep an eye on LEN. And once that breaks, that might be the catalyst for a move down to at least the base of that pattern, somewhere around the 31.25 area. Okay, moving on. LZB, this is Lazy Boy, famous for their reclining chairs and other furniture they're into now, whatever other ventures. We had a nice gap and some support here. Let's add that horizontal line. Okay, this was support around this level, which we've broken. We're trading below. We're below the 200-day moving average. We're below this uptrend line that goes all the way back to mid-2012. This was the real sell trigger here. We had a reaction, and as far as the potential, I think there's still a lot of downside in this one. Yes, I should have had this posted on the site more, back up here. In fact, I only found this one the other day. I just went through the components of the XHB. So, although I like to get these as close as possible to the breakdown point, if you're a longer-term swing trader, I think that Lazy Boy still has some potential. And again, I'm looking at the volume at price histogram. In fact, that support, according to the volume price histogram, doesn't come into all the way down here around the bottom of this gap. So what I'm targeting, I already had a support line up at the top of that gap right here, and I'm referring to the gap from looks like February 25th, somewhere around there in 2013, this large gap right here. So this would be my probably my final swing target at this time, and that line, these values are not exact, but just to give you an idea, that's around 1713. Yeah, there's a few minor support levels within there that traders might want to micromanage a trade, but I think Lazy Boy LZB could be a swing trade around current levels, currently trading around 2350. With the appropriate stops in place for a long-term swing trade down to as low as the 1713 area. Of course, there'll be some reactions along the way, and I'll add another support level here. I'll try to mock up a daily chart because I do like this one, and I'll put some near-term targets for those who prefer to take tighter gains, shorter profits than this. Okay, next one would be MAS, M-A-S. This is Masco Corp, building materials. We had this sort of wedge type pattern here, 200-day moving average support, which has been lost. We've had some impulsive selling. That all happened the other day. We had a big move down, and so far we have some nice follow through. And this one, Again, an ideal entry would have been up here. So if you catch a bounce on this one back up to the 20, all the way up to the 21, I don't think we're going to get it, but anywhere from around $20 all the way back to the 21.50 area should be a good short entry on MAS. I have to take a look at this chart and try to add some targets. But this is what a 2-day period chart looks like. This goes back 4 years. We had this uptrend line here that was broken, and like a lot of the home building or home improvement related stocks, we've sort of consolidated, moving up slightly in either an ascending channel or some type of contracting channel, I'd refer to this as, and then a clear impulsive breakdown. And again, you can see in this case it's the 100 period moving average, which is a 200-day moving average, because we're looking at a 2-day chart. It's a weekly chart. Don't have any annotations on that one yet. LII, Lennox. Lennox makes HVAC equipment, heating, air conditioning, that kind of stuff. And this one, we have a nice, well-defined trend line. Let's go back a little farther. Let's take a look at this 2-day period chart. Again, here's the 100-period EMA on a 2-day chart, which is the 200-day moving average. That comes in right around just below where this trend line that I have drawn. We'll go back to a daily chart, take a look at it. So with the 200-day a little bit below, you could wait to see that level go and then, call it just under $81. However, we have just now broken below that trend line. Although I'm not seeing some impulsive selling, and that tells me that there aren't as many eyes on this trend line. So on this one, to be safe, especially with the near-term direction of the market a little uncertain right now, I think the safer entry is a move below that 200-day moving average. And remember, that changes each and every day. I can tell you today it's at 81.04. If you look to the left-hand side of the chart, it says 200-day EMA 81.04. So give or take the $81 to $80 level, that would be a short entry for LII. And again, I'd have to look at that chart and go through to identify some price targets and stops. MHK, Mohawk Industries. Here's another one. It's broken down below a nice uptrend line and probably has some meat on the bone left, although, yeah. I guess the next, I haven't marked this chart up yet to the full extent as far as support levels, price targets. I do see a level here. We've already traded through that level, so disregard it. There's been too much price action through there. This is the next key support level down around the 120 area, just a little above that. And we're flirting right now with the 200-day moving average. So not the most objective entry, just another name I wanted to point out. Okay, only 2 more to go. Let's take a look at the next one, which is WHR, Whirlpool. Okay, Whirlpool, let's see what I have on the weekly chart here. Okay, we have this uptrend line. We had a slight breach back in, mid-2012. Other than that, it's a pretty well-defined uptrend line. And again, I like to see on a break of an uptrend line impulsive selling. It helps confirm the validity of that trend line. Of course, in addition to that, we had several reactions. 1, 2, with the slight, several weeks there. 3, 4, and then the 5th one we broke down. Since then, prices have been wedging higher, and a break of this uptrend line, this what I refer to as a minor uptrend line, would be the trigger, the next sell signal. So if you replicate this line on your own chart, again, I may post Whirlpool, at least some of these trade ideas I do plan to put up over the next few days. That would be the next short entry, a solid break of this minor uptrend line. And the first, I don't want to be too hasty on this. I do have to take a look at these charts and try to identify some ideal target levels where I expect a reaction. There are quite a few support levels. We have a gap here, some reactions here, but this is what it looks like, and that's a pretty meaty trade from down. If we broke down today, we're almost at 153, and these targets are, let's see, around 128, 120, 120-ish, and 111. So a lot of meat on the bone there on that trade if it does play out. And again, I'll try to get some official targets on the site as soon as possible. Final trade idea here is TPX, Tempur Sealy, the big mattress maker. Here, same story. We have a nice uptrend line. This chart is kind of choppy, and I don't want to spend too much time on annotating it at this point here. But it's a tough one, but we do have to watch this trend line before a solid sell signal. Now, when we look at a weekly chart, things look a little more clear to me. We can see, two major uptrend lines in the last decade. This is going back. I should say that's not the here. This is a decade here. So we have 3 major uptrend lines. This was in the prior bull market. This was off the 2009 lows, beginning of this bull market. Nice uptrend. We had a breakdown, prices pushed on to make a marginal new high, and then a very impulsive breakdown of this minor trend line. This looks like the previous chart I just talked about on Whirlpool. We had the primary uptrend line, prices broke down, and then pushed up in a smaller, what I call minor uptrend line, and then boom, the bottom fell out. And now, or since early 2012, we have a nice uptrend line, well-defined, one, two, almost 3, 4, 5 reactions. Prices wedging. If I drew it here, we'd see negative divergence on the PPO and the RSI. So again, we look at the daily chart, and this would help us hone down our entry. And I'll try to put out some price targets if I put up TPX as an official trade idea. But again, I did want to share these for those of you who are interested in some trade ideas. The market has been sort of grinding around the last week or so. I'm still keeping things on the light side. But things can and will turn on a dime. That's how the markets work. We go through periods. We just had a big down move, and I think we're digesting a lot of those gains. And sooner or later, we'll break out of this range, and the next big move will either be up or down. So I wanted to get these trade ideas out there for those of you that want to add some short setups and be ready to jump on these. And again, as I mentioned, some of these look ripe for the taking at this point in time. And again, it depends on your trading style. If you want to wait for better confirmation, wait for some clear signals on the overall market or especially the XHP. If you're trading the home builder stocks, I trade with a top-down approach. I'll look at the overall market. Then I'll look at a sector within the markets, the most bullish sectors and the most bearish sectors. Within the most bullish sectors, I like to look at the stocks with the most bullish charts within that sector. That's what I've done with the XHP here, or XHP. Did I get that right? The Homebuilders ETF. XHB, that's what it is. So once I see a clear breakdown here, below that, we are below the 200-day moving average, but below this channel, and I see prices start to move down impulsively, then that will tell me the home builder sector is now officially broken down and it, a near-term, at least a near-term downtrend, possibly more, and that will give me a little more confidence with these individual trades where I might, start establishing new positions or increasing my positions that I already have in the sector. Okay, hopefully this has been useful for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. This has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart. Have a great day.